Is Apple worth $100 or is it worth $10? How do you value it? So one way is to use the discounted cash flow model. And this video, I want to show you how to use my Google Sheet, which I created to help you and, well, me find the intrinsic or fair value of a company based on your own analysis to help you find the fair value of a stock.
So if you get into the link, you just got to fill in all the information that is in yellow over here. And I also have an example tab just below, which would show you how everything is supposed to look like when it's filled. You can get all the information from Yahoo Finance or Seeking Alpha. Now, I have already keyed in right here where to find it, cash flow. It'll be called capital expenditure. You just got to head over and find the relevant information and you fill it in just like this. Now, once you fill this in, you will be able to see the projected revenue on the right, which is indicated here. You will also need to key in the previous year's revenue. So once you fill in the information here and you key in the previous year, so in this case, the 2018 revenue, all the information here will be lighted up for you. So you can see the growth rate for 2019 to 2020, 2022, and that just gives you a rough estimation. And you can see that the net income margins for Apple has always remained relatively good, around 20 to 25%. So based on the numbers here and your knowledge of the company, you got to decide what the next few years' income is going to be. So this is what I think is reasonable, where their revenue growth is going to grow at an average of 8% a year. Their net income margins will be at 25% because they grew from 21, 26, and is now at 25. I think net margins at 25% will be very good. And I predict that their free cash flow to equity is going to keep increasing because Apple is a cash cow. Then next, to calculate the weighted average cost of capital, you need to look over here. And again, you can get this from Yahoo Stats, you can get this from Seeking Alpha. So you can go to the income statement, look for interest expense, long-term debt, risk-free rate, everything. A perpetual growth rate, you can think of it as long-term inflation. I put it at 3% right now. I know inflation is high, but I do understand that long-term inflation is about 3%, considering that we have a peak right now. Now, this is a custom value. If you want your required rate of return to be set to a specific value, then you can key in here. Otherwise, the required rate of return is already set at 10% because the S&P 500 grows at 10%. If you're trying to buy a company that is not going to grow at more than 10%, you should just buy the S&P 500. So taking into consideration that the required rate of return is 10% on top of having a 3% inflation and a 4% risk-free rate, that's how it's going to be calculated. Of course, you can key in your own value right here. Now let's fill in the information of when I took all this information. So I did this on the 22nd of June. And once I key in the current price, we see that it is currently overvalued. So the fair value of equity right here is at 162 based on the prediction that I have. Let's say I only want a required rate of return of like 5%, then we can see that it is currently undervalued. But again, if I'm buying Apple to grow at 5%, I might as well just buy REITs, or I would rather just buy the S&P 500. So this is how I use the discounted cash flow calculator. You can check my formulas and everything to see whether it's correct.
I'm going to put this all on my website. Feel free to look at the formulas to understand, do a bit more research on the discounted cash flow model, because I think this is going to be very important moving forward in 2023, 2024, because high interest rates, valuation suddenly play such an important role again. And like, don't underestimate like fundamentals. Like if you always trade on the fundamentals, you will never be too far off. You'll probably not make the most amount of money. The most amount of money is made through hype. So your cryptocurrencies, your Tesla, your Palantir, which I own quite a bunch of them, those are what's going to give you that to the moon. But if you want to invest safe, invest slow, protect your capital, finding a way to value a company is going to be vital if you want to stay invested in the long term. So I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments if this helped you at all.